Right, I think I am live. Never done it before. Share the screen. The participants, timestamps, reactions. I don't know what that is. Edit. Okay. Well, let me see on my mobile if I'm like, oh, there are two people. Hello. Let me just see quickly on my mobile phone and a different account. Okay, that's me live. Perfect. Okay, I think I figured. That's my first time ever going live on YouTube, so sorry about that. A little bit delay and not knowing what I'm doing. But anyway, hello, you have interesting insights. Best wishes. Hi, Neil G. Thank you so much. Thanks for coming. It's like I wasn't expecting anyone, to be fair. It's so weird with YouTube, right? It's like you're talking to yourself, thinking that maybe somebody there watching, or actually maybe somebody will like what you want to say. And it's very hard at the beginning because there's nobody watching. And then you're just doubting yourself, like, oh my God, what am I doing this for? But then there you go. Neil is here. So thank you so much. Thank you for telling me that I'm actually have interesting insights. It's so important for me to actually know that what I'm doing there's some logic in it, a sense, and somebody's actually enjoying it. So thank you. I am going to go through some of the questions. We have a few questions from the post from a couple of days ago. And I'm just going to answer them. I think that's the whole reason for that live stream, so I can actually learn a little bit about the platform. I can answer some of your questions, and maybe you can repeat that, do it sometime later if you have any more questions. And I'm not pretending to be any guru or anyone who knows things, everything. If there's something I can share with, something I can help with, then I'll just do it, right? Because I want to build that community feeling rather than just me talking to strangers. And if there's anything financial, anything, I'm not advising you to invest anything, or if I tell you about business idea, just don't do it. And if you fail, don't come to me saying I told you to do it. Okay, I'm just saying what I would do. We're going to start with the question 1, which is motivation to work on improving English as a second language. No, it's useful as living in an English-speaking country, but overwhelmed by the consistency that it requires. So a couple of things. First thing, I'm not the best. I'm not the biggest fan of motivation, because motivation comes and goes, right? Like you can get motivated today because it's a good day or whatever, and then you wake up tomorrow and you actually feel demotivated, right? Because just that's how our bodies work. So I would rather go about systems rather than motivation. So before we start doing anything, learning English, running a business, and applying for jobs, we need to have a reason for it, right? So for me, the reason to learn English was I had this blockade, right? So I came to a country where I was like, everyone was new, and I wasn't able to go out there and speak to people. I could not express myself without sounding like an idiot. So that was my reason. Like, how could I live in a country, even if I wasn't planning to stay that long, where I can't speak to anyone? So once I understood this, then I had to learn English. And bear in mind, before that time, back in Poland, I was trying to learn English for many years. My parents, they were signing up, they would sign me up for some private lessons. We had English at school. All kids had a second language to learn, but you never learn any language, right? It's just, I remember, like, I think at some point we had like ladies from Lithuania teaching us English or something. Bless them. I mean, I'm sure they were good, but it's just like I never learned English in Poland. I had to come to England to actually learn English. So first thing first, if you want to learn English or any other country, and if you can, go to that country, okay? There's nothing better than learning English being in England. So the motivation is your reason, okay? And then if you focus on motivation, you will most likely give up. This goes to people going to the gym, people trying to lose weight. It's the same thing, right? Same basic principle. Like, you're getting motivated. January 1st, everyone's like, yeah, let's go, we are motivated. And then January 20th, nobody carries on. Nobody's doing it again, right? System is what keeps you going. So if you want to learn English, you've got your reason. My reason was to be able to speak to it, and you want the motivation. Find out the system of how to make it easiest and most pleasant to learn English. For me, I learned most English. There was three there you go, three uh, sort of like a pillars of how I learned English. First one was I was watching cartoons. I like Simpsons, right? The Simpsons show. There's like 20 or 30 seasons. Each season's got 10 or 20 episodes. So I would watch Simpsons every day with subtitles on. I would just be watching because I liked it, right? It wasn't pushing myself. Therefore, I wasn't looking for motivation. I was just, it's a good excuse to watch cartoons. So I was watching cartoon with subtitles on, and that was, American English, but still English. And I would just watch it and again, and you would learn more and more, right? The second thing were comic books. I'm not a big fan of comic books, but because it was easy English and it's a picture, so you have, a super character, like a superhero character doing something, and there's a comic, book, so a comic text, very short, 1-2 sentences, and a picture, so it's easy to understand what the language is, what they're saying, because you got picture and the text. So I would, if I was working as a bicycle courier for 3 years, my first 3 years being here in the UK. So I would take a couple of comic books. You can buy them in charity shop for like 50 pence. And again, this is something which is also kind of pleasant, right? So I wasn't trying to push myself because I know I'm not that motivated, as you say, because nobody is. So I would take these couple of comic books with me in the bag, and then whenever I had a break as a courier, I would just open it just for fun and read it, right? And just Superman, whatever, and you just learn more, and you just keep doing it, and you're just getting, vocabulary getting bigger, and you're just getting more used to it. And the third one, the most important thing is I keep talking to myself, and I still do that, right? I'm not native, right? So as a bicycle courier, I was working, with this walkie-talkie, like a radio, right? You press the button, and you speak to your controller, and they give you details of the job where you go to, etc. I hope you can hear me or something. I didn't check that. Hang on. Yeah. Okay. Good. So if I had this walkie-talkie, there was open channel. That means I could hear other people speaking to each other, right? We could hear each other. But if you wanted to speak, you would have to press the button, and there's a 107, and then you just be connected to a controller. But when I've heard people talk on the radio, I would pretend that I'm a part of the conversation, and I would just talk back to myself, right? So like there was two people speaking about delivery or something, or details. I would pretend I'm part of what they're talking. I say, okay, yeah, I understand. I'm going this way. To myself, they didn't hear me speaking that, right? But I was talking to myself to get more confident about actually speaking it, because it's different to learning language and actually speaking that language, right? You can be very good on the paper, but when you speak in front of somebody, you just suddenly freeze or you feel like an idiot. So I would just get more and more confident by speaking openly to myself, and I still do it. Like I love it, right? So it's like sometimes probably people see me like he's crazy or something because he talks to himself, but I'm just playing these scenarios in my head, like, oh, I'm gonna, like, even before recording video for YouTube, like I'm thinking about how do I start video, right, to make it kind of like the hook, like how do I say, and then just in my head, like, hey, I'm talking to myself. So that helped me. So don't look for motivation. I would say look for the system, what works for you. Make it as easy as you can and as pleasant, right? So to keep yourself motivated to keep going, and just keep doing it. And the more you do it, the better you get. So that's the answer for the first question. I hope it helps. I hope it's not too long as well. Second, all of the above. Okay. Another user, Wojciech, cześć, Polish Wojciech. Business ideas that work in recession. It's a very good question. I'm not going to give you total business idea. Maybe I'll give you a few, but I'll tell you how to think about business ideas when the things are down, when there's a recession. Okay, because number one, healthcare, well-being is always there, and recession or not, right? So what I would be actually looking for in the recession or down times, and I think we're not far from a recession, and like big one in the West at least. I would look for the niche of where I can actually start a business, right? I've been working in the healthcare for the last 10 years here in the UK as a bit, I had businesses around this, and I worked with different healthcare brands. So for example, when the pandemic happened, what I did, I drove to our nearest town, and I sat there for like an hour or two. I was watching people, what they do, like, because I was trying to find a problem related to pandemic which I can solve, right? So let's say there's a recession. I would look for problems people have, particularly now, which I can actually sort of add on the value to them, right? And before thinking about money, I would start thinking about, can I actually help and how? In COVID, I saw the problem when people could not travel because they had no COVID test, because the test that was like, no, don't you guys remember, there was like 48 hours window where you had to have a valid, COVID test. So the problem wasn't actual pandemic or the virus or whatever. The problem for people I've noticed was they wanted to travel, but they only had 48 hours to get a test. So I started offering tests, guaranteed test result for the next day. And because I had connections in labs in London, I was actually able to sell that product, right? And then later it became very good business, obviously. And we became actually one of the biggest in the country selling the guaranteed next day result tests. And then we had a BBC sending over to different kind of like Beirut when there was all these things happen afterwards. But I started from finding a problem within that. And when the good thing about recession and chaos like this is there's more problems, right? Everybody's got problems. So now you need to figure out what is the problem you can help with. Another tip for recession, like downtime times, is people will spend more money on themselves, which probably doesn't feel like, but it's actually true. It's like when you see the recession, then you will have more ladies going to a beauticians, right? Men would probably go more often to pub. They would start spending money on themselves to feel better because they will be in some mental probably challenges, right? They would have some challenges in their lives. And how do we do with challenges? We normally spend money on things. We like to buy ourselves things to make ourselves feel better. So I'd also look into something like, beauty, wellness, obviously gambling, but I wouldn't recommend this. I wouldn't go into business, anything like this. This is not who I am. I don't like to be involved in anything which is destructive. However, just so you know, fear is the best selling factor. Okay. So people not necessarily need to be afraid of someone, but fear of not having something, fear of missing out, fear of not going on holiday, right? This is the reason people are willing to spend money. In recession, there's a lots of fears. If you can actually name that fear, and again, I'm not talking about being afraid of virus or of you. My particular case with COVID was people were afraid of actually losing time, not being able to go on holiday with the family, right? That is a big fear. Like, we've been on lockdown for months. Suddenly you want to go on a holiday, and everything depends on the one particular test. If you don't get that test today, you're not going on holiday, right? So think about this. Where's the fear coming from? What are people afraid of? And there's so much money to make in there. So, I personally like working in chaos. Like I'm a very creative entrepreneur mindset, right? I don't like structured environment. I don't like offices. I don't like this, corporate ladder, all this nonsense. Excuse me. I like to go out there when there's like fear, chaos, because then I'm just like, okay, let's get it done, right? Let's see how we can help. And then if you help someone, you have one person that you got business, then you have to scale. Help one person for free. You see another person with the same problem, then charge, then 2, 3, then start marketing, and you got business. Business ideas in recession. That's that. Another question. Mindset. I struggle with negative self-talk constantly. That's a difficult one for me because I am naturally an optimistic person. So I can't. I don't know what it feels like to constantly talk like this. To what was it called? Negative self-talk. I'll tell you this. Somebody said go in nature and walk, and that's great. Cześć. Hello, cześć from Havant near Portsmouth. Hello, cześć Rubalo, if you're Polish. If you do it's negative self-talk, I would say going out is definitely a good idea. Somebody said go in nature and don't take your phone. Amazing idea. Try to cut out social media. It's a very, I'm guilty of that, overusing social media, but it's also part of my business and what I need to talk about on YouTube, stay relevant, etc. But I would say go to the gym, and I would probably even say, look, why is it the negative self-talk? What is not right about you? Because I think, and again, I'm not a specialist, I don't know, maybe there's some particular part about yourself you don't like. When I was younger, I didn't like about myself being very skinny for very long. I'm very tall. I'm like 6'2", and I was always very skinny. Now I'm slim, but I do gym quite a lot, so I'm okay now, right? But for a very long period of long time in my life, I was too skinny, and it didn't make me feel good. I was pretending I don't care, but I care. So if you have anything particular you don't like about yourself, then I would imagine look into it. But if you don't know what to do next, go to the gym. Don't worry about any specific programs or anything. Just start exercising, and it's going to clear up your mind. And you can't go wrong with going to the gym, right? It's like the worst case scenario, you're just going to be fit. That's a good enough for me, I think. Take a walk in nature. Another one, the mindset. How can you overcome the constant doubting and low self-esteem and not knowing where to start and what to do? Go figure. Yeah, that's exactly the same thing. Like, I would start with the gym. I actually have lots of good ideas in the gym because you're kind of clearing your head off, and the idea is coming to you. But there's another part of this question that says not knowing where to start. It's probably an analysis paralysis thing, right? So people overthink. People like to overthink problems, overthink how to start, and therefore they're just getting stuck into never starting, right? I would imagine if you know what you want to do, just start. Like, it's going to be hard. So no matter how much you're going to think about this, it's not going to get easier. You're not going to get to the point where it's like, oh, now I thought about this problem for 7 months. Now I'm ready. No, the more you think, the more you will find the reasons for actually excusing yourself for not doing something. So if you don't know where to start now. Start today. And constant doubting, just go to the gym. Seriously, that's the easy one. And you can make friends. You can make. You will get fitter, healthier. You will sleep better. You will make maybe friends. That's literally not. That's a winning strategy for whatever, right? And if not, then like I said, at least you're gonna feel better, like in your body. Another one, Jim is talking about immigrants see the abundance of opportunities and positives, business, education. Yeah, it's true. Immigrants are great when it comes to seeing actual positive sides because we went through hardship. And that's why I'm positive about the UK, because it's not great. Every day feels a little bit worse, especially nowadays. All this, online act, all this their labor just can't stop themselves. But I don't think it's going to last forever. And it's not as bad as we tend to think. So I'm positive, and I just try to find positives, right? Like whatever happens. And this is also some kind of my motto when I tell myself when it's really bad. And I've been going through lots of different difficult times in my life. I was very ill when I was younger. Business went bankrupt twice, like lots of problems. I always ask myself, what's the worst case scenario? Like if I really fail, if I really don't do, what is the worst case scenario? And it's normally, quite often, it's not nothing really that bad. And it's not as bad as we think, right? So ask yourself this as well, like what's the worst case scenario? And if you're not ending up in prison, then that most likely just do it. Next question, should I invest in gold or risk my money in crypto? Right, I'm not a financial advisor, so please don't take my advice seriously. I'm just saying what I think, right? That's my thought. Don't invest, don't do anything based on Polish guy talking to camera on the internet. Look, we live in times with inflation is high and it's not going to get any lower anytime soon. I think that's what I'm saying. We will end up in some sort of disaster, financial disaster sooner or later, rather sooner than later, in my opinion. Knowing that, I think keeping cash is actually a risk. Without knowing what to do, I feel risky, right? I would, if I had cash, I would invest into asset, which is gold, in my opinion, maybe some precious metals, right? And maybe not even stock. I don't feel stock is safe anymore, like stock, American stock or anything. Everything feels a little bit like it's about to go, right? So it would be very hard. But with gold, thousands of years it's been there. It's just things we can always use to transact, sell, or whatever, right? So I would probably say long-term gold. Again, that's going to be long-term investment. If I had to invest, it's not for next day. Crypto is very volatile, so I wouldn't. If you've got a loads of cash and put some in crypto and you can just forget about it, that's a good idea. If you want to invest now and you want to be not to worry about, or like you said, not to. You said risk my money in crypto. Don't risk your money in crypto in that case, right? I would say if you can put some money and you don't worry about losing it, then do it. If not, gold is probably the safest thing, I think. But again, I'm not a financial advisor. And the last question, how do you start in a country as an immigrant? Okay, that's interesting. From working dead end jobs to something else better when you perhaps don't have the education to help you with. First, I have no education. I've had like high school, and then I went to uni, and I'm a dropout, so I haven't finished uni. I started a business back in Poland, which was very successful, and then it failed spectacularly. That's why I'm in the UK, because I had to pay debts, pay back money. But I would say, don't worry about education if you don't have it. It's not the biggest problem. At least here in the UK, you can literally look at me like I do business with medical professionals, doctors, clinics, and I am not a medical professional myself. I have no experience, no like professional experience. Right? I'm not a doctor or anything. So don't worry about that. And how to start. You see, when you start, you do what you're going to do, right? You start most likely you're going to live in some community shared house, whatever, renting a room, maybe if you're lucky, with people like yourself, most likely from your background, right? So if I was Polish, I was living with Poles and Eastern Ukrainians in London, renting, actually sleeping on the floor with one of my friends. Eventually, I could afford a room, a same environment. The problem with this is, and that's what most people do. The problem is you're getting stuck, and you're getting stuck with all the average people doing average things, and you want to improve yourself. That's the question, right? So what I would advise is to, and I keep saying this to my friends, and like move out as soon as you can from that environment where you got immigrants all over you, everywhere, and you got your work, everyone immigrants. Don't do it. Like if you're Polish and you want to improve your life, language, business, whatever it is, move out from Polish house, move out from Polish area in London, move where the people are who actually you want to be part of, right? So if you want to be in the business, I don't know. I mean, there's a reason why people go to San Francisco, right? And they open startups, tech startups. Like, if you're getting stuck in a Polish environment, in Polish part of London with Polish people around, it's very hard to improve language or improve anything because you just, as a saying, you become who you hang around with, right? So change the environment as soon as you can. And I see it as an investment in yourself. So if you can afford, go to the most expensive place you can afford. Like if you're renting a house, I would rather have longer commute to work and more expensive area where I live with more wealthy people around, rather than having shorter commute with more dodgy area, right? Because that's the investment. You go, on the tube or whatever, when you're traveling, you can learn, you can study, you can listen to music, whatever, podcasts. But when you go back home after work, your neighbors are actually, higher than you. You have something to look up, and you can actually motivate, right? A system. You see people better than you, then you actually get things like, okay, I need to do something to be able to speak to these people or something like this, right? Dead end jobs is the same thing. Like as soon as you can afford, move, and as soon as you've got experience, change your job. I mean, there's so many. I recorded some time ago, many months ago, a video about a toxic immigrant mindset, where we are so grateful that we're forgetting quite often about improving ourselves, right? Our lives. So like, oh my God, I got this job. I'm now here 7th year of this company, and the owner gave me this opportunity, what amazing opportunity, which is great. Just be grateful, say thank you so much, and move on if you can, right? Because you don't have to, nobody owes you anything. As an immigrant, if you want to change your job because you need more money, just do it. Just be respectful, make sure you follow all the rules, give a notice and everything. Don't burn bridges. But don't stay anywhere just because they gave you a chance when you started. That's fine. I have still friends, like when I started my work, when I moved from courier work as a courier on the bicycle, I moved to the office of the same company, to basically answering phone calls and making coffees. The manager who hired me is still my friend to this day, right? But I don't work for any of them. And I actually still have, his name is Jeffrey, and amazing guy. He was one of the few people who actually changed the trajectory of my life, because he gave me opportunity to move into work to the office. Although I had no experience, I just decided I can't be a courier anymore. But I didn't stay there because I was grateful, right? And there's so many immigrants have this mindset of like, keep your head down, be grateful, don't look too high, don't try too much, because why? Like, and just especially for Poles, I think, and maybe other cultures as well. But don't be this way. Like, you've done a time, somebody hired you, they paid you, you did work, great. You got experience to move on, change your job, go for better money, or ask for better money. Just think about yourself, because nobody else will. That's about the job and how you start as an immigrant. So start where you can and move up as soon as you can. Start spending money onto living in a better, more expensive place, getting better jobs with more options, rather than getting stuck in nice, safe, job. Because imagine like these people like living in a community part, like let's say Polish part of London, and then they go to Polish shops to do shopping, and then they have Polish families around them, and then they go to this safe job they've been working for 7 years. Like, I wouldn't. Like, I'm not judging. It's great if you like it, it's great. If this is for you, it's great. But if you really want to improve, that is it. You're gonna have to change all of it, and it's not gonna feel great at the beginning, but that's where it all starts. Okie doke. Wow, 11 people. Hi, 4 likes. Thank you so much, 11 people. Thank you for 4 likes. I've answered all your questions from the previous. Like, if you have any questions right now, go ahead, fire it up. I'll try to answer. If not, I think I figured out how to run YouTube Live, which is amazing. I'm happy to do it more often. Like, I want to talk to you guys. I want to hear your problems. I want to see what you want me to talk about. So we can do maybe like 2-3 times a month. I don't know, as much as you want. If you're happy to do it, let me know. I read all your comments. If it's an idiot, like if it's a stupid comment, I just ignore it, right? But I read most of them. Actually, some of you remember some of your names already or nicknames because you keep coming back. And thank you for that. If you want to connect with me through comments, like I say, and let me know if you want any other questions to answer later. Now, I'm here for you. I want this channel to be done. I want this channel to grow really, really big. It's going great, but I want this to be my main business, main job moving forward in the future. And that's going to be happening with your help. And in return, I want to be helping you back as much as I can. Right. So again, Neil, thank you so much. Hello. What's this crown? Experience points, top funds. Oh, hello. Okay, so you're my funds now. Thank you. I'm your fund. If you guys need me for anything else, let me know in the comments. Let me know when we can do maybe next Q&A. I'll try maybe next week or something, or week after. And I'm wishing you a really great weekend. It's Friday. That's nice weather. Hopefully we can recharge, rest a little bit, and get ready for what's coming next week. Thank you so much for your time, support, guys. I'll see you soon. Cheers. How do I finish it? And here. Bye.